Afternoon. Yeah, I'm recording this directly after my last video, just because I'm in the groove. So, and I feel the need to pick up this video because I've got a big pile of well, not so much a big pile of stuff. It's not. I don't think it's actually been that long since my last pickups video, has it? Because I think recently, what's today, 13th. I'm guessing the last one was probably round about the 18th, so it's not quite been a month. So anyway, there and thereabouts. Yeah, I've basically this is these are all titles I've bought sort of since my birthday. That's how it tends to go. I have a little burst of buying things after Christmas or birthday when I've got a bit more disposable cash. But actually, in this one, I've had a few decent finds from the wild. I keep looking down because they're right here in front of me. A few decent finds from the wild, but also some decent online purchases. But a lot I've been able to sort of tick off from my list, and I've made massive headway into my lists. So when it comes to things like PS2 and pretty much PS2. It's a big chunk off of quite a big chunk off of the games I had quite high up on my list. So I don't know. It just seems sooner or later, maybe sort of sooner, that a lot of these will be, like PS2 particularly and Xbox and Wii. Will there won't be any more that I really want. So what do you do after that? I don't know. What will I do with my time? Go out buying games just to, don't know, that I've already got. I don't want. No. I'll have to think of something else to do. But anyway, yeah, I felt like doing a pickups video. I've got. This is obviously after I've filmed this directly after my other one, so I've already been banging on for about. That last video wasn't quite 40 minutes, so it might get a bit husky. But yeah, a few of these, they're from all over actually. A few eBay purchases. Actually, I mean, so a lot of I think PS2 games in particular, and because I'm so close to the end, I'm not being quite so tight. I just want to get to the end now. So or that's how it feels anyway. For that reason, I feel like I've just maybe not been quite so, had my eye on the bargains as I would normally do. But a few of these I've been looking at for a long time. But anyway, right. There's a few little stories. Don't know where to go. Shall I? That was it. I mean, what was it? I was looking out for Fire Pro Wrestling Returns with PS2. I thought I wanted to treat myself. I've got something else instead, which I probably won't buy Fire Pro Wrestling Returns now until I've got a bit more money. But I was just going to put it onto eBay, and it came up as a result in America, and I thought it was funny because I checked the listing, and it was basically a seller selling a PS2, and there was a list of games with it, and one of them was Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, and I was sort of tempted to put in a bid. I mean, I probably could have got it all in, because I do actually. One of the things I'm really, really on the lookout for is a US PS2, or at least a PS2 that can play import games. But if anybody has that ability to help me get a US PS2, then get in contact. But yeah, I saw this US PS2 that had been sold, and it had a copy of Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. But ideally, I'd like the PAL version. I don't think it was ever released in the UK. It might be one of these ones that people think wasn't, but was. But I've got a feeling it never was. But and I just sort of looked at the listing, and then at the bottom of the listing there was this whole sort of excerpt from the Bible, and this eBay seller was talking about how God helps her be a better eBay seller, or by God's will, I will do my best to be as good an eBay seller as I can, and it sort of made me laugh. But then I looked at her feedback, and she'd got about 2,000 feedback, and it was 100% feedback. So obviously, her will to do good by God as regarding being an eBay seller, and probably a certain amount of fear about doing well and not pissing him off, meant that she was properly keen to do a good job and a really good eBay seller, because like 2,000 feedback and no negative, negative marks. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? So maybe as far as eBay selling, we should all find God, and that would make us the best eBay sellers ever. Maybe that's the key, just finding your own motivation or some sort of your own fear to do as good a job as you can. All of the worst eBay sellers, all the ones who are just really relaxed and don't really have an eye on the ball and just all like too slack, aren't they? We all know them. We all encounter them. A bit half-assed. All the ones who send stuff in bin bags or in pizza boxes. But anyway, yeah. All the other stories I've got, there's a couple that they will tie into some of the stuff I bought. But first purchase was actually from CEX, but it was a game that I ordered from That's Entertainment a while back, and they did one of their we couldn't find it, or it didn't pass our final inspection, so we decided not to send it to you. We decided not to tell you either, and we decided to keep your money until we kicked off us. It's Innocent Life, futuristic Harvest Moon. So £2. It's not actually supposed to be that good. It's sort of like a pared back Harvest Moon, and but I just fancy having a crack. It looks really nice, sort of colourful on the back. But the thing is, with these games, the scope is part of the appeal. When you get in like an RPG or something, a game like this, it's all sort of squeezed. And it's got boundaries, and you can't do as much as you really want to. It's a bit unfulfilling. Hopefully, it's not so much like this, but I've got a feeling it might be. But anyway, £2. But yeah, like I said, that was one I ordered from CX, and this is exactly the same. I got them exactly the same time in the same place. Thing is, the one I ordered from That's Entertainment was pretty much it was $1.99 anyway. So. Whereas this one, I forced to pay £3 more, but this is the one I wanted the most because I've been looking at gameplay videos of this, and it looked brilliant. And then Twitter Shred put up a gameplay video of this recently, and it looks really really good. And obviously, it's got like an easy mode for no hopers like myself. That's a key, but yeah. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. So they were both from CX at the same time. I thought that's probably about the money. It's not an expensive game. It surprised me actually. It feels like it would be, but it's not. It's not an expensive game at all. You probably easily get it cheaper than that on eBay if you bided your time. But another CX purchase. This I had a load of credits burning a hole in my pocket, and only £8. And it was all going to go towards a PS3, but I wasn't finding anything else that was going to add to it. So this £8 had been £8 for a long time, and it was burning a hole in my pocket. There was no other credit sort of coming, so I sod it. And this was a game that I'd had my eye on in other places, and missed out a few times. But it's supposed to be really good. Rune Factory on the DS. There's actually 3 of these, but the other 2 are properly difficult to get hold of and expensive. But it's basically a fantasy Harvest Moon. So yeah, this is supposed to be better than Innocent Life though. It's supposed to be more to it, sort of a bigger scope. Whereas Innocent Life's a bit sort of truncated, a bit squeezed. But the cut corners. Look at that. Is that because I'm reflecting the light like that? I don't know. Anyway, it's Rune Factory for £12, and basically £8 of that was CX credit that I already had, so I only had to shell out £4. So and it's got someone's written Harvest Moon Harvest Moon there. Luckily, that's not on the sleeve. That's just on the plastic, so that'll rub off. So some little blighter. Um, actually, and probably one of my, I've had two decent finds in the wild. This one is the first one. This came yesterday actually. Today's Sunday. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, well, this came yesterday anyway. Bit of a collectible. I thought this was a US only release, but no, it's not actually. This was available in PAL territories, but it's called Moon. It's a DS game called Moon. It's an FPS, and it's quite collectible. $6.99. This was on my radar. It's on my radar for quite a while. I've forgotten where I saw it. I saw it somewhere, and it's one of these games you see it randomly. You don't recognise it, so you look it up and you look up gameplay video and then reviews and then how much it'll cost you to buy, and you realise that it was quite collectible. And after that, I was watching the Game Chasers, and Billy said exactly the same thing. Billy from the Game Chasers said that he wanted it and it was quite collectible. But then I saw it for $6.99. I thought, this is one of the rare occasions when I'm in a game shop and you see something well priced, and I thought, I'm having that almost like straight away. It wasn't didn't even have to think about it. So yeah, and it's an FPS on a DS, which is sort of unique, and it's not unique, but interesting in itself. But it's supposed to be okay. I mean, the blurb makes it sound good. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to compare to like an FPS you might get on the PC or anything. It's, obviously you have to make certain allowances, but it's supposed to be collectible anyway. But it's like the standard. I think it's like the standard. Weird things going on often like sort of Moonbase, and then you and your team have to go and investigate sort of thing, and then all everything goes to shit. But yeah, this is actually available from PAL territories as well. I think I checked on eBay. I think it's a bitch to search for on eBay, because you put in Moon DS and the vast majority is Harvest Moon or Rune Factory, or because Rune Factory subheading is Fantasy Harvest Moon, so it'll either be just pages and pages and pages. In amongst all of them, there'll be a few of these, and if you put in like like saved search of this, you're just going to get loads of Harvest Moons. So it's a bitch to find, or bitch to search for anyway. There are ones available, but I think the cheapest that once sold was about £13, but I think they went up to like 20, maybe over 20, or maybe even a bit more. But I think maybe the PAL ones might be more expensive. I'm pretty certain this is legit, but I did look on the back, and the print of the sleeve in places is a bit soft, and the manual. I don't know. The manual was all black and white and a bit sort of basic, which made me think. But the cart's fine. But no, I'm just being paranoid. But that's probably my second best. I've got one better one coming up. The second best find in the world. That's entertainment. Name checking now. They're coming good again. They're a bit up and down, so be wary. This one, I wasn't expecting anything, but it actually came through. $1.99, Final Fantasy 2. Not an expensive game. I mean, you'll pay $5 for this in CX, probably less on eBay if you bide your time. But this isn't actually what I've got. This on the PS1 on the Origins, but never played it. But now I've got it on the PSP, and I'll probably never play it on that either. But actually, I think the first one's slightly more expensive than this, but this is a bit of a no-brainer when I saw it. And I was hoping it wasn't going to turn up. It would be one of the essentials, but luckily it turned up, and it was an original release. But it's it's all there. I don't think I say that very much, but generally I won't buy things if they've not got their manuals. Only if they're special. What's the word? Special instances? No, special cases. Like What was the one I got last time? It was Justice League Task Force. Didn't have a manual, but generally they do. 99% do. But so Final Fantasy 2 on the PSP does. So I think I generally try to get all PSP, sorry, all RPGs for any systems I've already got. I've got like PSP, so DS, generally. Another one. Now let me. Where did this come from? This is sort of an RPG in the sort of Monster Hunter sense. This did actually come from. This did come from eStocks. Came from eStocks. It's called God's Eater Burst. It's a really sort of clunky name. I think this is a sequel. It's a Japanese-only precursor called God's Eater or God Eater. God Eater? No, God. The first game's called God Eater. It's Japanese only on the PSP. This is God's Eater Burst, and it's pretty much a Monster Hunter, and it's supposed to be pretty good. And was it Mark on Classic Game Room loves it? But then generally you can guess what he's going to love just purely by the content of the game, or the theme of the game. If it's got robots and things exploding, he's going to love it. But this is supposed to be pretty good, and it's a game I've had my eye out on a long time. Missed out on it a few times. I think I was just a few minutes too late on That's Entertainment on one occasion for $1.99. It was a game that I checked regularly on that same website. And a few occasions I remember it was weird because their search engine is odd, really strange. So I just realised I wasn't sure that I'd named this event. I'm recording this using iMovie, and you have to put in an event. And I thought I'd mistitled it, but I hadn't. But anyway. The search engine of That's Entertainment's a bit weird. It's just all over the place. I would always search for this, put in the full title, and it wouldn't come up. Then I'd put in individual words, and it wouldn't come up. On one occasion, I'd put in gods, and it didn't come up. Then I put in Eater on its own, and it didn't come up. And the only result I got was when I put in the word burst, and it had a result of this. But I think it had already been bought, so there was nothing there to buy. So it's a bit off, and that's the sort of rigmarole you have to go through. You have to think sort of laterally about when you're searching things on That's Entertainment, because quite often they don't results don't come up if you just type in the title as it's written. You have to include. Sometimes you have to include like sort of colons if the title has a colon in it, or you have to But anyway, it's just confusing. And on this instance, I saw it appear. I was just sort of sitting on eBay, and it appeared on my homepage, and it was £2.4p. So £2.4p. So I went straight to That's Entertainment, typed in God's Eater Burst, and there was no results. I thought, what? And I went back to eBay, and it said God Eater Burst. There's no S. That's an S, by the way. It's not a Z. Actually, no. Obviously, because if that was a Z, that'd be the wrong way around, wouldn't it? I'm not illiterate, honest. And so I went back to That's Entertainment. Actually, no, then I bought it on eBay, didn't I? Yeah, I bought it on eBay for £2.4p. So, because I thought it wasn't on. Sometimes they don't list things on That's Entertainment. I went back to That's Entertainment and typed in, having already bought it on eBay, typed in God Eater Burst, and it came up. So basically they'd missed off an S, and because I was typing in the full title and I should have missed off the S, I missed out, and I ended up having to pay 5p more because I could have got it for $1.99 on That's Entertainment. So I wasn't happy. Paid 5p more. I think I've been shafted. But no, it's supposed to be really good in the vein of Monster Hunter, but it's supposed to be sort of a good game in its own right. It's that sort of type of game, but it's not just a clone. Again, this was That's Entertainment. Again, this was actually on the instance I was looking on eBay, and this came up on my homepage for, I can't remember, whatever price, sort of an eBay price, a normal price. I thought that's what I do. If I see it come up on the eBay homepage, I go and check That's Entertainment, and it came up, and it was just the bog standard That's Entertainment price of $1.99 bonus bargain. I love that, and the transaction went through, and I got my confirmation of my order, and just had to wait to hopefully it was going to turn up, and it did. And it's a game called Trapped. This is in the, is it canon? Is that the right term? Canon of Deception. The Deception games, the original ones, the Devil's Deception on the PS1, and you've got Kagero Deception 2 on the PS1, and I think they're both in the UK. And then the third game, I'm sure there's a third game, I'm sure there's Deception 3 that was US only. Then I think there came this, but then there's Deception 4 on the Vita and the PS4 3, I think. It's all a bit confusing, but for some reason this is called Trapped. But it's exactly along the same lines. You know, you have to set traps in your big house and defend it against invaders. But yeah, this is a game. Another game I've been looking out for, and it's a game on my list. And I actually put in an offer on one. It was a best offer on one, and it was rejected. And it was only about £7.50. But this is a game that can go for a decent amount. I mean, you should be able to get it for less than a tenner. Probably around a bit over a tenner. I think it's not saying it's the best game in the world, but it's just it's sort of uncommon in that sense, and so that might artificially boost the price, because when they do turn up on eBay, then there's more competition for people who want them But yeah, that's pretty much the game. You like the other Deception games, you set up traps, and you have to. It's a bit like this sort of what's the word? One trap triggers the other trap, triggers the other trap, and you have to create combos of traps to defeat interlopers. This isn't supposed. I don't think it's supposed to be the best in the series, but it was one I wanted just to placate my sense of completion. But yeah, and I'll give it a crack when I've eventually sorted out my knackered PS2. Because I still haven't tried cleaning it yet. Right, this one, slightly misleading. It's called Kuri Kuri Mix. This was low down on my list. This I first became aware of this. Years ago. I read a Eurogamer sort of hidden gems PS2 article, and this was on it. And it's by From Software, so that's a reason to buy it. It wasn't 20p, so that says Sensible Soccer. Basically, I bought a game on eBay, and it came, and the case was a bit knackered, and I wanted a replacement. And I went into CEX to try and get myself a cheap replacement. And the case for Kuri Kuri Mix was the one I put on my replacement, but then I wanted to keep Kuri Mix anyway, so I bought a copy of Sensible Soccer, and that one's going to go to the charity shop, so for 20p. But yeah, so it's a bit like a party game. I can't remember yeah, it's a party game, 1 to 4 players. I can't remember how it works, but I've wanted it for a long time, even though I've no idea what's it about. But I like the cover. Sorry, nice, bold, colourful. But yeah, and it's by From Software. Don't know what to say more. Don't know what more to say about that. This is the game that I bought as a replacement case. It's there you go, Musashi's Samurai Legend. That's the Kuri Kuri Mix for £1. So basically, I paid £1.20 for 2 cases. Sorry, 60p case, but yeah, the case of this was a bit duffed, so I had to get another one. And yeah, I think it's the only Musashi game we got. We didn't get Brave Fencer on the PS1, did we, in the UK? And I think this is sort of like an action, sort of 3D action RPG, I suppose, in the vein of like a Zelda, but it's sort of cell shades, and you've got this character with wacky hair, and he's got this really long sort of odd ponytail and stuff like that. But yeah, it's supposed to be okay. I mean, I bought this on eBay. I bid for it, and it had been going. I think I paid £7.20 something, and it had been going for just over £6. But again, like, because this is pretty high off my list, and it was one of the last few PS1, PS2 games I wanted. I didn't mind paying that little bit more, so I'd pay. I end up paying. You'd easily get it for around about £6. I think you'd struggle to get it for less than £5. But £7 was okay, and there'd been ones sort of like a couple of weeks ago or a month or so ago. There'd been a few that had gone for over £10, sort of like £10-15. So I didn't mind paying £7.20 for it. But yeah, annoyingly, I can remember missing out on that. I went to a car boot sale. And it was the only thing I saw, but I missed out because I didn't actually have any change on. I didn't have any money. I went to the car boot sale with no money, and it'd gone by the time I sort of saw it. And didn't pick it up, and I don't know why it was relevant that it wasn't there when I went round again, because I still didn't have any money. But I was slightly gutted either way. It's weird logic, but right. An eBay purchase, Kuon. This is right high up on my PS2 list. Kuon, survival horror game, sort of in the sort of Japanese classic. Sort of Japanese stylings. This one came from France. I think it's like the version of this is a European version. So it's UK, Holland, Spain, France, and Italy. So if you want this, you can get it from any one of those countries, and it just means that the pool of places you can get them from is wider. Don't get it from Germany, because Germany had their own copy. So I think generally these can go for, on a bad day, £40, or bad day for a buyer, good day for a seller. I saw this appear. It was listed in I checked on eBay, and then I just sort of clicked in European Union, and it came up, and it was €35. No, no. Well, it came up in euros, and I put in an offer, and it was rejected, and they came back with a counter offer, and I came back with a third offer, and that was accepted. My offer was, I think it was €27, and their postage was high, €8. They ended up paying about £4.50, €4.50, which is a bit. I was a bit annoyed, but I didn't say anything in feedback, but because so. Yeah, so I ended up paying €35. At the end of the listing, it said I was due to pay £25.44, which is the equivalent to €35. So I thought that's a good price. So I paid it, and I checked my PayPal a few days later, and I checked the records, and it had come up as £26. So somehow the exchange rate had. I don't know whose scale they were using, but it wasn't eBay scale. Maybe PayPal have got their own scale for exchange rate between euros and pounds, and maybe they'd just use the one that was more favourable. I don't know, but it's slightly annoying. But and I've been looking ever since. Actually, I've looking at the records of my purchase, and it's basically they go by the original currency of the seller, which is in euros. But because that fluctuates, the record of my purchase that was fluctuating as well. So the €35 stayed the same, but according to the record, what I've paid is sort of slightly different, which is slightly confusing. Like, it's been going as low as sort of £25 or up to sort of 27. It's really odd, even though I think I ended up paying 26 something. But the record tends to change. It's really odd. It doesn't stay the same, even though it doesn't stay the same, which is dependent on how much you've paid at the point of sale. It's really odd. But yeah, quite difficult to get hold of survival horror again from software. So yeah, going all out from software this time. But yeah, these two were my I on my list. I've got like a top section, which all the proper really stuff I really want, and for the stuff I really want, they each have a star. I put a little star on them, and these are the only two with stars. The top of my list now has only got about sort of 10, 12 games on it, but none of them got stars because a lot of them are too expensive. But anyway, so that's, you don't get a star if you're too expensive. eBay purchase. I'll try and hurry up. I was hoping this was going to be under 30 minutes, but it's not. eBay purchase. PS1 game. Don't know why I got a bit of a bargain on this for some reason. Bit confusing how that happened. It was a game that I'd had an eye on, seen on Amazon a couple of years ago, and they had, or last year, and had them for about sort of 17 quid. And I was tempted to get it, but never did. And there's two actually, and they were sold, and they've not been that cheap ever since. And they all tend to be sort of 30, 35 quid or something, or 40. People ask way too much. And I saw this one come up. Another one. It's another bitch to search for, purely for the title, and it came up on auction, and I put in an offer of 22 quid, and I thought there's no way I'm going to win this, but I'll put in an offer anyway, and I left it. And when I went back, I'd won it, and it had finished at 14 quid. It's just one of these weird anomalies where no one had ducked in at the end, or they'd not bid enough. It's just odd. It's a pretty sought after game. Maybe the sort of the style of game isn't often the most sought after, but it's called Z or Z, depending on where you're from. Z in this country. One of the reasons I wanted this was that I thought back to that old A to Z video that I did, and Z was one I didn't have. I had to use Zone of the Enders, the second Zone of the Enders game, because I tried to do A to Z in PS1 games, and this means I can do it properly now. A nice sort of sense of completion with a proper actual Z. So, yeah, difficult to search for on eBay because you get loads of Dragon Ball Z titles with the shitty PS1 Dragon Ball Z games. But yeah, paid about 14 quid, just over 14 quid on the auction, and then with postage, postage came up, and that for some reason I got a bargain, and the seller was brilliant. The seller was really good. They honoured it, and they didn't try and take a little bit more with postage. Seller was really good. So I got really lucky with the price and the seller. So if you're out there, cheers, mates. And sort of like an FPS. I think it's an arcadey FPS. Supposed to be quite difficult. It's got mouse support by the Bitmap brothers. So it's maybe makes it collectible. There's me. Hello. Maybe makes it collectible with Bitmap brothers. It's supposed to have a good sense of humour, and maybe this is the one that will finally get me to properly learn how to play RTSs. But did I say FPS? For some reason I think I said FPS. Right, last game. I'll be quick with this one. Been looking at this for a long time, and I'm just blown away to see it. I've got so jammy. It's Ultimate Band. For only £1, so jammy. No, basically I've got this for the case. I wanted it's a Wii game, surprisingly. The one I found. So I don't mind paying £1 for replacement Wii cases because you look in CX, and I think the cheapest you get is about 50p, and there aren't many of them, and so I think they're about 50 to 75p. There's a lot more that are £1. So I didn't mind paying £1 for a replacement Wii case because it's not like PS2 cases where they're everywhere and you can just take your time until you find a really good one. But in a charity shop just last week, just went for a mooch around. There's a new CEX near me, another one. There's loads. Don't know why they're popping up, but there's now one in Waltham Cross. And it's brand new, and I think generally when they're brand new, their shelves haven't been picked through, so they're often good to go and look at quick. But in Waltham Cross, just a charity shop close to CX before I went to CX actually. Close to CX, but not a place I've ever seen anything before. But this one, saw some Xbox games and some 360 games, and just generally just sitting on the shelf. Wasn't really interested, and then sort of did a double take because in amongst them was Kirby's Adventure for £2.50. So properly jammy. The case was a bit scuffed, but I'm not going to complain for £2.50. The only downside, I think, the downside is that the manual was a bit, it's a bit of a rip there, and it's a bit crispy and wrinkly, but there's no water damage as such. It's just writing. Got a bit of writing in it. Bit of a yellow felt tip. But for £2.50, if you find me complaining about that, you can shoot me. No, don't. Please don't. But anyway, yeah. But yeah. So that's probably the best in the wild charity shop find I've found in a long time. So I'm going to swap out the case for Ultimate Band and then stick this in the charity shop, and I'll have a decent copy of Bar. The disc's actually okay, but just the manuals just look like some kids had a go at it with their yellow felt tip. So yeah, chuffed with that. Generally, I've done okay. Some nice stuff in the wild, and some nice things ticked off my list, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Don't know, is it? Oh, second video today. Thanks for watching. I'll let you go. There will be more coming up. I've still got to make use of my new camera, haven't I? So I'll think of something to do with that, and I'll see you lot later. Thanks for watching.